Right now, the only thing standing between you and the rider is me. He's scraping at the door. Scraping at the door. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea. We're at episode 63.
And we're scraping at the door. 63.
63 is when we ran out of music for the week to open up the show with, so we decided to open up with arguably the most ridiculous line for our movie of the week. And if you're not familiar with it, our movie of the week is Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, starring the one and only Nick Cage.
Oh boy, it does. Oh, does this movie star Nick Cage with a capital N?
Yeah, it is a special film for those who have not seen it. And if you have seen it, please feel free to join us with your comments and questions and head scratches later on in the show. But thank you for joining us. If you're joining us in the Facebook live stream, if you're joining us on YouTube, if you're joining us on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you find your podcast, we always appreciate all the support. With me as always, because it is Wednesday night, or it could be Monday night, or whatever night it is. With me as always is Jason. Jason, are you scraping at the door tonight?
Oh, Eddie, I'm scraping at the door to talk about this movie because I have to. We've been talking a bit about this off air, and you and I have a very different experience in this movie, and I'm excited to scrape at the door of that experience.
Jason, I want to take you back to January of 2021 when I had reached out to you and Tony. And we talked about starting a show called Granny's Peach Tea,
right.
And we were going to adapt our old audio-only show to this format. And I mentioned some movies. I'm like, guys, I'm thinking we should cover everything in the whole genre. I'm talking about Avengers, Endgame. I'm talking about the Avengers and Dark Knight, and also Punisher, Warzone, and Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. That was one of the movies that I used to reference the other end of the spectrum.
It was.
And we are here.
And we are here at the other end of the spectrum tonight.
So I'm actually excited to talk about it, though, even though, whatever. Well, I'll save all the details of it. But, I mean, you could only imagine that I have not seeked to own this on Blu-ray or whatever it is. I will just start it off with that. But yeah, we do have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about tonight. We'll be talking about last night's episodes of Superman and Lois and Naomi, and the brand new episode of Moon Knight. Episode 5 dropped earlier today. So we'll be spoiling the heck out of that one. And we'll be talking about Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, because we're in a Nick Cagey mood with his new movie out and everything. And I'm going to see it with Angie tomorrow night.
You're seeing it tomorrow. You got to text me after and let me know how it is. Because
there's a whole lot of Nick Cage this week.
Because I realize I'm off Monday, and I don't think Finn is. So if you tell me it's worth seeing on Thursday, I'm gonna do my favorite thing to do in the world, which is to go by myself at a noon showing in a movie on a day.
Don't forget that matinee price.
Oh, but matinee price it's not even. I would actually pay double for the experience I like this for. I like going and being one of 6 people in the theater.
I like that. You know what it is? It's funny you mention that, because as much as I love the Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, the Batman opening night experience, which we do a lot.
Right.
We've been doing this for a while now.
And I love that experience as well. I mean, I don't know if you know this, Ed, but I was on the news when we were in high school because I went to the Ziegfeld, rest in peace, Ziegfeld in the city, to see Independence Day at the midnight showing with my improv friends who were much older than me. And I was actually on the news because they were interviewing people, and there was me with my long blonde hair and my derby hat going, "Oh, I certainly don't like attention. You can interview me." So I also love that feeling, but there is also something to Like I don't like when I went to go see Free Guy or Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I don't need a crowd for that. That's a shame watch, you know? That's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch. Maybe I got a flask, maybe I don't. You don't know what's going on because there are only 5 people in this theater and we don't care about each other.
That's great. That makes me think of when I went to see Fan Four Stick, and it was
Ooh.
me at a Friday afternoon matinee because I had summer Fridays. So I timed it up. I got to the midway just in time. It was me and it was 3 other people in that theater. And halfway through the movie, as I was feeling sorry for the actors involved in it, I felt sorry for the other people in the theater. Like I looked to the side and I'm like, why did you bring these 2 children to see this? Why is this happening?
Yeah, poor kids. Poor kids.
But either way, no, both experiences are awesome for different reasons. But I totally agree with you. I actually like seeing, movies where there's like, at least it's quiet and, you don't have to worry about anyone talking and crap like that. But actually, Farachi's jumping in, welcoming us. Yo, what's up, Farachi? What's going on?
Boss man, good to see you.
And also mentioning that Peacock has an entire section devoted to him right now. Interesting.
I don't. Maybe that's where Double or Deep Dive goes next. We finish off James Bond, and then we scrape at the door of the Nicolas Cage's entire run. Like we can go back to Vampire's Kiss.
Wow, that, my friend, is a daunting task. Wow, we'll have to talk about that all fair. That is a lot.
That's a deep dive for the ages. I mean, there's going to be some great stuff there, but there's going to be some terrible stuff.
That's true, but you take with the good with the bad, right? I mean, that's how we roll.
Well, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. We all know that from the 80s.
Yeah, Farachi, that is a deep dive. I don't even know how many movies that is. Wow. It's more than Bond. He's done more than 25, 26 movies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. And it depends, too. Like, do you count something like the Grindhouse, where he is like Fu Manchu in one of those?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
trailers?
You have to.
I mean, you have to, right?
Yeah. All right. So before we get rolling, though, Jason will be paying his penance to another actor of our time, David Hasselhoff. What do you got? What happened on Baywatch Nights this week?
All right, guys. Well, we're just this is what I think is happening in the writers' room right now. Is they've put up every single cliched trope of the X-Files and episodic, like, scary TV of the time, and they just spin the wheel. So this week we landed on African voodoo cult.
Wow.
And
like
the
Papa
cult
Shango.
Yes, exactly like Papa Shango, except he's the voodoo priest is Papa Doc, which I believe is a real person. If I'm
yes,
not
it
mistaken.
is actually. No, it is actually. It is. Wow.
And so the whole thing is like Mitch is called by this woman the mother of someone he saved, lifeguarding, and I guess once you save someone's lifeguarding, you own that life forever and you're responsible for it, like in certain cultures.
Like Han Solo and Chewie.
Yeah, right, exactly. So he's called, and he's called because Papa Doc's face is coming through their walls in like this woman's home. And so then he goes to investigate, and her daughter is knee deep into this cult, and then he's got to get her out. And like the Papa Doc's not happy about that, and he does some serious real voodoo shit, right? Like we're not even pretending that it's not magic here. It's crazy. And then I don't remember how it ends, because to be honest, I stopped paying attention. This is bad, guys. This is really bad. I can insult this because I'm watching it. That's my penance at this point. I'm unhassling the Hoff by watching the later seasons, and I've looked into it. There's no fucking story about how this transferred. There's no story about how come we have. It's just ratings were never good, and they went, the X-Files has good ratings. That's the whole story.
That's so lame, because I was hoping for some awesomely ridiculous story. By the way, Papa Doc not Anthony Mackie exactly.
Oh, I wish
Captain America. Well, no,
I wish Anthony Mackie was in this episode.
Oh, Papa Doc's real name is Clarence. He went to Crane Book. That's a private school. That's right, Tim. That is correct, sir.
That's very good points.
Very good points. All right. So, I mean, that was it. The voodoo.
The voodoo. Oh, yes, and it ends with, because there's been, and not this season, but the first season was a whole will they won't they with the Hoff and Angie Harmon, which was cool because the Hoff is sexy and Angie Harmon's super cute, and you always like to see that happening, And then they kind of dropped that now, but at the end of this episode, after they vanquish Papa Doc in a way that, again, I don't remember because I was playing my Switch, they the girl he helps says, I put a voodoo spell on Angie Harmon so she's more receptive to your vibes. And he's like, I don't need that. And he gets in the car, and Angie Harmon's like, that's nice pants, that's nice hair. And she's like hitting on him. And then she looks over, and both her and the daughter smile and wink at each other like, oh, yeah, we ran a good scam. Now I feel empowered to hit on Mitch. It was so weird. Like, why doesn't Angie Harmon just hit on Mitch? Say, hey, Mitch, you want to fuck? It's the 90s. It's Baywatch Nights.
You're both the main characters on Baywatch. I mean, you figure it would kind of just be an easy transition there.
Right. It's mind-blowing. But you know what, guys, I'm staying the course. I'm in this. I think I'm halfway through this season, and if I'm not, don't correct me. Let me just believe that.
By the way, Faraci is giving you the green light to do that. Nick Cage, 118 movies.
Ooh,
it's a 2-year show, man.
That is a 2. I can't make a decision now on air. I got to talk to Ed. I got to talk to Ginny. I got to make peace with my own conscience. And honestly, I can't do that show without John Rice, who was on our show for Moonraker, because he is like an unapologetic worshiper of Nick Cage. Like, I don't think he hates any of it.
Which is, I can't. Listen. There's certain actors and actresses that I love, and I can't even say that. I probably couldn't watch all their stuff, and not just like hate some of it. But you're right, Tim. Jason loses me.
Oh yeah, no, I would too. I would. And Tim, you're lucky you do like 8 shows on this network, because I'd want you on that show too if we did it, and you would not do it. I know that. Tim would quit. Tim would show up for like 1 in every 10. Like, yeah, this was an okay one. National Treasure, I could do that one.
It's either all or nothing, man. All or nothing.
That's it. That's the nature of the deep dive. All or nothing.
Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to do a quick trailer review, though, for a trailer we didn't get a chance to talk about on our last episode just a couple of days ago. It's weird that we're just on Sunday night, now we're back on Wednesday. But, the last week, Marvel Studios dropped the Thor Love and Thunder trailer. It's a teaser trailer, so they don't give up that much.
I wouldn't call this.
Anything.
I wouldn't call this a teaser trailer. I mean, I know we've redefined what a teaser trailer is, but I mean, I'm going to sound old now, but in my day, a teaser trailer showed none of the movie. It just gave you a hint of what was going on. You got excited without really getting anything. Like, this was a trailer. Like, we saw things from the movie. We know where the character's head is at. Like, this was a trailer. It was a good trailer, though.
Well, I think it doesn't, there's nothing spoiled, right? Like, if you follow this stuff, even like we do, or on any level, you knew we were getting Jane Foster as the Mighty Thor. If you're not familiar in the comics, she does have like a storyline where she has cancer and she ends up, getting Mjolnir and becomes Mighty Thor for a time period. So there is that. We get that at the end of the trailer, which she looks awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty badass. And Mjolnir has like the cracks in it and stuff. So I was wondering, though, since they announced that she was going to be in it as the Mighty Thor, I was wondering how she was going to get Mjolnir, like, now that we have time travel in the MCU, like, or anything like that, or is that going to be a version of it? But the fact that they showed like the cracks in it, it looks like it's a reassembled Mjolnir. Now I'm really interested to know how the hell that happened.
Agreed. And I like that they're grounding us, like, because here's the thing, we're going to go crazy multiverse, right? We've already started. It's going to get crazier. I like that, at least in certain movies, the MCU is still keeping us grounded in Earth Prime. Like, I don't know. I know that's a DC version. That like
whatever 616 or whatever the hell you want.
Whatever it is. But I like that it seems like we're not doing multiverse hopping in this movie. And I hope it stays that way, because as much as I'm a huge fan of multiverse stuff, I'm very excited about this Doctor Strange movie. I was very excited about Spider-Man, but I also think we need some grounded MCU properties and movies that do not multiverse hop. So I'm glad that it seems like we're grounded here.
Yeah, and a lot of the MCU Disney Plus shows have done a pretty good job. Like with Moon Knight, I mean, there's no multiverse. The shows have grounded it back. Yes. Hawkeye has done that and everything. But you're right. For the films, we haven't been out of it since Eternals. That was the last one. The last, with Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, right.
And then and with Doctor Strange coming up next week. I can't believe, wow, it's next week.
I know. I can't believe that either. It's almost here. Like I am so excited for this movie, and I do not get excited for movies easily. Like, you guys know, even like my own fandom, like with the Batman, you're excited? Nah, we'll see how it is, But like, I'm seriously excited about this Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, and actually, Alex has a comment here regarding Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm actually hopeful for this movie. It's going to be a different MCU movie, considering it's not a hero versus villain kind of thing, and they're exploring Thor's emotional side. Well, I mean, we do know who the villain is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get
Christian Bale. Yeah,
we're going to get a villain, but I also think Alex is right. Is that I think this movie is going to be exploring like Thor's post Endgame PTSD, because he had that in Endgame. Like, that's why he becomes Fat Thor. That's why, because he blames himself for not going for the head. He had the opportunity to kill Thanos in Infinity War, and he misses it. We see the emotional impact in Endgame, and I agree with Alex that there's going to be a villain. There has to be, but I think that's not going to be the impetus. I think the impetus is Thor's character's recovery and embracing his herodom again. I think a line in this trailer was, I have superpowers, but I'm not a superhero, or something like that, where
his heroing days are over. Like,
that's it.
He's moved on already.
My heroing days are over. Now I'm just out there adventuring and finding myself. And I think that's where the MCU is going with this. And I think that's exciting.
Yeah. And of course we'll go ahead and get the whole, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in thing, because something will force him to go ahead and pick up Stormbreaker and start heroing again and stuff. And I thought it was interesting too that, like, in the beginning of the trailer, we do get that one shot of him running in the woods where he starts off as a child, and then he runs and he's like comics accurate, like 60s Thor, which I thought was kind of cool. And then he's like kind of like more the modern day MCU Thor, and I thought that was a really cool aspect that they showed. Also, we knew the Guardians of the Galaxy were in the film.
Yes.
Like, again, if you've been following us, I'm sure we've talked about it on here previously. They're in it, so no spoilers there. And
he goes off with them.
Yeah, last we saw him at the end of Endgame, that's what it is. And that's where this story apparently picks up. Like, boom, this Thor's been hanging out with the Guardians and stuff, and he kind of, we'll say, they show his brief, like, part of his workout montage where he's doing, instead of the ropes, he's doing chains and stuff, and then he's Jack Thor all over again, and he's back.
Does that mean we have to cover the Infinity War and Endgame before we watch this movie, since it takes place right after?
Well, we could discuss that. I mean, we were going to cover the 3 Thor movies.
We're definitely going to cover the 3 Thor movies, but maybe we should also because if this movie takes place directly after, and Infinity War takes place directly after Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like, one could make an argument that those two would fit best in the Thor timeline, since it's literally one ends and the other begins. So we'll talk about it off air, but I just realized that. I
mean, we were gonna cover them sooner or later. So
absolutely,
I mean, we can maybe discuss and get around to that.
I just want to talk about them.
No, I know it's been a little while since I've watched them. I purposely will not watch them for a little while, because I feel like when they came out and everything, and then the Blu-ray and stuff, like, you start watching them 1,000 times. So I kind of want them to give them a break for a little bit, but I still, they're still. Yeah. I don't know. Well, I'm super excited for this, and I think they kept the trailer short because it was like, all right, the focus needs to be on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, what's going on there, and I'm sure this will be shown right before it as well. It'll probably be the last trailer that leads up to it, because that's the next MCU film. right after. All right. So as we normally do, let's go ahead and get it rolling to these CW shows. We got 2 of them this week. Superman and Lois, season 2, episode 10 was back, and Jason, you were like pretty amped up for this. You watched this before I did, you were like, chef's kiss this thing.
This was chef's kiss, man. I mean, look, this show does not disappoint. It just doesn't. And the fact that you and I were like, I want to know what the hell's going on in Bizarro World, and I'm sure they'll cover it. And I love the way they covered it. This episode shows us everything we need to know about what's going on over there. And it does it in a way that shines a light on our characters back in the regular world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As well as giving us sort of really cool fan moments that I personally wanted. Like I love, my favorite part about it is the fact that Bizarro Superman and Bizarro Tal are close as brothers.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever.
I mean, and that was awesome. And because that actor is awesome who plays Tal. And you know that people who are liking this are going, man, it's awesome what they did, but I would love to see them as how they would be if they actually liked each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get that. I just think and the fact that it broke it down by character. This is what happens to Superman when he gets here. This is what Bizarro Superman is like. This is the Bizarro Lois. This is what happens when, I forget his name, but the soldier who comes over with the pendant. And Anderson, that's it. And even the twist with Jonathan.
Yeah, that was a twist I honestly didn't see coming.
Me neither. That took me by surprise. I won't steal your thunder. You got the notes on this one. But that twist, I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming at all. And I usually do see shit like that coming. So yeah, I think this is the best episode we've seen.
This was a top tier Superman and Lois episode. I guess the way we'll go about this is I want to run down some of the details that we got of the Bizarro World, which I thought were a lot of clever, like Easter eggs, if you want to call them, or just like details in it. So Bizarro World is flat Earth.
Yes.
So for those who are sports fans, maybe this is where Kyrie Irving is from because he believes the world is flat. So maybe it's in Bizarro World. I don't know. Bizarro World has a red sun, and pool is played with cubes.
Yeah.
In the Bizarro World.
Yes, it is.
Which I thought was hilarious. And they did it they do these things in not a goofy way either, which is what I like about it.
That's what I liked about it, because it wasn't like, hey, look at this, we're playing this stupid game. It's just blink and you miss it. It's just in the background. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were looking away, you would have missed it.
And Jonathan Kent is the superpowered one on this Earth, and he pretty much becomes Superboy. He's got the whole leather jacket, the t-shirt going. The whole like goth look. By the way, it seems like the normal look in a Bizarro World, everyone's goth. Everyone shops at like Hot Topic full time.
Yep. Which I'm okay with that.
No,
we all went through
it was an interesting choice. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting choice. And then Superman, though, interestingly enough, he embraces the celebrity of being a hero.
Yes, and that's his downfall.
Really strange. Yeah, that is his downfall because he starts doing kryptonite as a drug. And I thought that was a really interesting line.
And that's also, we come to find out, that's why he looks like he does when we meet him. Because in the beginning of this episode, he's just Clark Kent. And
with a backwards S, that's it.
With a backwards S, that's it. Exactly. And it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's kind of like The Boys, because it's not like that with the brutality, but the celebrity of it, where it's like, oh yeah, I've got to go and I've got a meeting with people, and I've got a brand thing, and I've got to go do this, and I've got to go sign autographs, and the fact that like that's exactly what Superman in our universe is not about, and the fact that also leads to his demise. It breaks up his family. It causes Jonathan to turn on him after he gets his own superpowers, and it causes him to become a drug addict that it completely ruins him. And we find out that the reason he comes to Clark's Earth to stop the I forget her name, Abby? Allie. To stop Allie is because he fucked it up so badly with his family and protecting the innocent, which is important to him. It's made clear. That isn't changed. which I like that. He's our Superman with a different take that fucks him over. But he only comes here because he's like, I got to put things right, and it's the only way I can do it. And I just thought that was such a super interesting take on Bizarro.
Yeah, no, I thought what they did with the whole Bizarro World thing was really interesting, and we've talked about it before. It's done in a way that's not goofy at all. It's done in a serious way, and it works. It really does work.
Yeah.
And it did. It gave me shades of like Homelander a little bit, but not to that extent. They didn't go there with it. Just embracing the celebrity part.
That's it. Like, that Clark Kent's not going to just punch your face in because it gives him an erection like Homelander would. Like, this Clark Kent cares about people. It's just he also is kind of narcissistically into himself when it comes to the celebrity.
That's the part. Yeah, that's the part that is kind of a little bit like Homelander, but he's not like mentally fucked up and stuff like that. They didn't take that take on, which was, I think, the right way to go for Superman.
For sure.
And I thought it was interesting that he was hosting instead of the Oscars. It was called the Kevins. And there's a reference made to President Seinfeld.
I was waiting for you. Right? That's the only note I took. And
I wasn't missing that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to take this from Ed, but if he doesn't mention it, I got to throw it in there.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool that they did that. And Tal, his brother Tal, ends up marrying Lana Lang on this planet.
Yeah, who, by the way, super sexy on this planet.
Yeah, she's like this like waitress is like another goth waitress because again, everyone's normal dress is like goth. So she's got like the 80s puffed out hair and stuff. It's Faraci would be all about it. I've been trying to he loves her. I was trying to get he was a big fan from Entourage. We'll see if that can get him in. And I thought it was really interesting that in their house, Crypto was a cat. They had the cat was eating out of a bowl, awesome. and the name Crypto was on there. I thought that was actually a really interesting thing. But yeah, so then they pretty much it leads up to we get the background on Bizarro. Like we know that he ended up kind of like destroying his whole thing. His son, gets his own superpowers, and that scene was interesting too because when Jonathan Kent on the Bizarro World gets his powers or he's had them, and he shows them off to the world, he goes ahead and saves somebody who's falling from like a scaffolding or is like doing a window cleaning, and he's hanging in the background. But Superman on that planet, Bizarro, is taking pictures and stuff like that, and it's like not being bothered with it. And he goes and saves him and comes back, and he's not even like doesn't bat an eyelash to it. Just like, oh well, I guess he'll be supering with me now, and we'll go ahead. Let's get our branding person in there to get him like dressed up and everything.
That was it. He says you got to make sure that you say you're an L because we have to promote that the L family is a superhero family.
Mm-hmm. And just his motivations it was so interesting to see him like that. So then it ends up being like this battle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I also want to point out that this actor playing I forget his name. I'm terrible with names, as anyone who watches the show knows. But the guy who plays Superman is
Tyler Hoechlin.
Phenomenal. That's it. Yeah, phenomenal at playing this Bizarro Superman because he still has the heart of our Superman, but he really sells the love of celebrity and the sort of embracing of the wrong decisions. Like when he gets angry, I don't buy it because our Superman wouldn't do that. I go, holy shit, he really can sell angry as well as convey the personality of Superman. So I just want to point out what a phenomenal acting job he does in this episode.
Yeah, he gets more to do with that, more range in playing two different versions of the same character. So
right, exactly.
But that was pretty cool. But yeah, so there ends up being this whole thing where Allie goes over there. She ends up eventually merges with herself because with her Bizarro version of herself, because that's pretty much the whole thing. And Anderson is there. He has the two medallions that are there.
Medallions,
yeah. So he goes ahead and he realizes that he fucked up. So he ends up trying to work with our Superman who's on Bizarro World. And there's pretty much a battle, but Allie goes ahead and she does her merging, and then she gives the medallions to Jonathan Kent, Bizarro Jonathan Kent, who that's where it picks up, where we see him in the other world, in our world, in Earth Prime, and he's about to try to go ahead and he's looking for the regular version of himself because he wants to merge. Because if you can merge with yourself with those medallions, then you're pretty much like omnipotent.
Yeah.
On that planet. So that's kind of what it is. But Tal also, I thought it was interesting that Tal, who's with Allie, and so is Bizarro Lana Lang, they're all there, and then he realizes that, seeing this version of Superman reminds me of what I lost with my brother. I'm gonna now turn good now and help him out. So I thought that was really cool.
I love that, and especially because it's made clear he never turns bad. Like, when Superman says to him, like, his Superman Bizarro, like, you always said if I need anything, just ask you and you'll do it, no questions asked. I need you to distance yourself from Allie. And he goes, it's complicated. Lana's really into it. You know what I'm saying? Which that's him being like, all right, what do I choose? My wife or my brother? Like, this is, and that's a hard decision. How many people, I mean, I never have, but I mean, how many people have been put into a situation where, like, well, which family do I choose? The family I was born with, the family I chose, and it can get very complicated. And I like the fact that he's holding like our Superman at the end. He's like, I can't do this again. That's ultimately what he's saying is I can't. I've already turned on my brother, and then I watched him become a kryptonite addict and die, because he knows he's dead at that point. I can't do this again. And I just thought it was such a real, believable moment. And I love to see this character, this actor, be able to embody like the good version of Tal, because it's very interesting.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where the episode leaves off. So we'll see what happens if Jonathan goes ahead and merges with himself and he gets all these powers and stuff, because we also see Superman was on his way back to Earth Prime. So
and
that'll pick up
we
there.
also got his brother. I mean, has got powers. So I think we're gonna get a Bizarro brother versus our brother fight before any merging goes on.
Oh, that would be really cool. I actually wasn't even thinking like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah, no. That's exactly what I was thinking as soon as I saw that Jonathan had turned and was with Allie. I'm like, oh yeah, he gets to our world. Oh yeah, the brothers are gonna fucking have a super powered fight. So yeah, I think that's how we start our next episode off.
Okay, and we'll see you next week because they're thankfully not taking another break now that they're back.
Yeah.
All right. So the other CW show that's back this week also is Naomi, season 1, episode 10. I think a pretty solid episode. We get a lot of rebellious Naomi, which I think you were excited to see because you felt like your criticism of the character has been she's too perfect.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to say this. This is the best episode I've seen. I enjoyed this episode immensely. This episode literally addresses every concern I've had about this show that I didn't like. The fact that she's not rebellious enough and she's kind of a goody-goody. She cut school. She's rebellious. And to be honest, when it comes up, we'll get there when we bring it up, but her interaction with Lourdes, she's a dick.
Yeah, well, let's get through it and let's get to that because I think that was one of the most interesting things in this episode here.
And so I just want to point out that she's actually painted in a negative light for something, which was part of my issue with the character, that everything she did was considered correct. And I think it's kind of made clear here that no, she kind of fucked up here. And I like that. And the other thing I like, how many kids do we see in this? Not counting Naomi. She's the star.
Yeah, no. Out of the Scooby Gang. Well, no, out of the Scooby Gang?
Yeah. The Scooby Gang, yeah.
Well, Lourdes and Annabelle. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all you need. Because my biggest issue with this show is like all that stupid teen drama that takes up so much. You still get teen drama here, but you only get 2 of the Scooby Gang, and the rest of the cast are the adults that are actually doing the interesting shit. And that furthers the story. So that's why I want to just say I think this is the best episode because it addressed a lot of things I had a problem with in this show.
Yeah, so we get Rebel Naomi. She's rebellious against her parents because she finds out they were aliens and they were lying the whole time, so obviously she gets pissed off. and she kind of like runs away from home for a little while. Yeah, she goes ahead and skips school. So I started to wonder, is this the bizarro version of Naomi that we're getting now? I don't know. And she decides to go to the alien bar where we saw a couple episodes ago where Dee went because she wants answers. And she's like, and then Annabelle calls her out on it and says, hey, why don't you just go to this one of the aliens we know? And she's like, listen, everyone around me seems to be kind of like in together on something and telling me the same shit. So I need to go outside of this circle, which I thought was smart for the character to reach out for outside sources.
She's not wrong.
No, she's not. And when she goes there,
you find out everyone knows her fucking parents.
everyone and their mother knows her parents now.
Yeah.
But when she goes there, she goes there with what's called a transmatter cube, and it pretty much allows someone to hop between multiverses and planets and things like that. It's pretty much like, hey, this is the handwave device that can kind of get us around here and do whatever it needs to do. Then we found out it was built by that woman Akira that we had met a couple episodes ago, who had a relationship with damn it, car salesman's name. Zumbatu, yes. So we find that out. Annabelle has a sister named Sophie, who was never mentioned at any point before, but now she's here.
Yeah, and she's quite obnoxious, and
it's funny.
No, but she's very obnoxious.
Oh, she is, but I think it played well though. I thought it was funny. Jason, you're a teacher. Sorry, yes. Jason, you're a teacher, so I want to ask you, when Naomi's cutting school and she's found in Lourdes' comic book shop by the principal who's in there shopping, like, what the hell was that about?
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you asked because I was going to address that. So, if a principal walks into a comic shop in the middle of the day of school, when they themselves are supposed to be in their building, and they see a student, even if they know, like, the fact that he knew fucking Naomi's schedule, by the way, bullshit. All right? My principal's an awesome principal. My principal knows a lot of the students. My principal holds meetings with the students as a student committee. It doesn't matter what their grades are, right? Like, he wants to get everyone's voice. So I'm saying this, he's very involved in the student population. There's no fucking way my principal's walking into a store outside of school when he's supposed to be in school and going, oh, I know this student's by their full name and their exact schedule and what period it's supposed to be in. That doesn't happen. The man's got many other things to have on his mind.
Jason, we went to a pretty small high school, and I can't imagine Juliana or Terry running to us into a comic book shop and actually, like, none of that happening even.
No, Juliana and Terry ran to us. Well, A, them being in a comic book shop would not have happened, but B, even if they were, it would have been more like, it would have been great. I would have been like, Terry, Juliana, let me introduce you to Batman. And in turn, they probably would have went, shut up, let me introduce you to Batman. But yeah, no, that doesn't happen. And look, as a teacher, if I'm not in school and I'm out and about and I walk into a store and I see even one of my students who's supposed to be sitting in my class, I don't go, oh, it's supposed to be in my class. I go, oh shit, oh my God, let me pretend I don't see them.
Exactly my thought.
So none of this made sense on any level.
But then we have a character that's introduced named Mac, who was sent by what we believe to be is the big bad Brutus from the Earth 29. So she shows up, and the actress that plays her, I'm pretty sure she was on Supergirl and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't know, she seems to be revolving around, and I think she was on Walking Dead. She seems to be on any network TV show that is related to comic books.
She's a working actress. That's all. Like, that's it. Like,
I was like, oh wow, she's back again. Oh, okay.
Because she kind of looks like Trinity from the Matrix. No, like she has that
little bit. Yeah. So then I guess that gets us to the moment there too. So like, Lourdes is giving Naomi a ride around town and helping her out and stuff, like she kind of usually does, and invites her, since she's being rebellious, invites her to like this like party in a warehouse somewhere. this teen party when she invites Annabelle, so they're all there dancing and partying and taking selfies and blah blah blah. And like her boyfriend Nathan is just kind of like, since they had a disagreement in the last episode, they're just fighting and not talking, which is fine. I mean, I bought that part.
Glad he wasn't in the episode.
Yeah, no, exactly, because he's not very good. But
he's a bad actor. That guy's a bad actor.
he's pretty bad. He would have fit in our movie of the week.
Oh yeah, he would have been great.
He would have been perfect. So through that though, apparently Lourdes kind of was getting these vibes from Naomi and kind of like goes in for a kiss, and Naomi's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm dating." She's like, "Dating Nathan," and you can see where she gets pissed off because she's like, was kind of seemed like she was maybe leading her on or not leading her on or whatever. And Naomi is called out on it. And Jason, what do you think?
I want to add this. Naomi was giving her the fucking kiss me eyes.
Right?
I don't know if you clocked it,
right?
But I was watching it.
No, I did.
And and Naomi was giving her, and anyone who's ever fucking kissed someone, boy or girl, man or woman, same sex,
Whatever.
Different sex, doesn't matter, knows when someone has given you the fucking lean in and kiss me eyes. And Naomi was fucking doing that, man. Because Naomi looked at her, and they were looking at each other, and I was thinking, before Lourdes went in for the kiss, I thought, wait, is Naomi bisexual? Like, is this gonna like more so? Is she going to like be a thing with Lourdes now? Like, because she's definitely looking at her like she's interested. She's definitely giving her the signal to like make a move. And then when Lourdes doesn't, she like pulls away and gives her like, "I'm with Nathan." It's like, you gave her the look.
Yeah, I think, dude, Naomi's guilty on this one. I'm sorry. She did. And then Lourdes calls her out pretty lovely, actually, when she tells her, like, I'm not going to just be your friend who you take selfies with to make your boyfriend jealous and shit. I really, called her out on it. And I'm with
And what makes it worse,
I think that's fucked up.
Is that Lourdes says, "You know how I feel about you," which means they've had this conversation.
Right? I feel like that's been going on for, like, the whole show, though.
Yeah, you're right. It has been. Like, that's definitely it. But it's like, the fact that we get confirmation, like, no, it's not like Naomi's oblivious. Like, Naomi's just a sweet little straight girl who never even realizes when someone of the opposite sex might have a crush on her. Like, Lourdes is like, "You know how I feel about you," which is like, makes it even worse because, yeah, she is using her for the rides. She is using her for the adventure. And it is kind of made clear that her boyfriend does call her or text her because of the selfies she put up, which means she was using her to make her boyfriend jealous. She was completely in the wrong.
Yeah, so I'm on Lourdes' side in this. That was crap. By the way, the other thing that I wanted to point out here was the odd. So Naomi ends up going. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Before we get to that, is that Max shows up at that party, kind of tells Naomi, "Listen, we're gonna go take this outside. Otherwise, I'm pretty much gonna wipe out everyone in here." And they go outside. They throw down. They have this whole fight, until Zimbadu and Kira show up and everything, and she just like vanishes and disappears and goes off to her own place. Naomi goes home. Okay, and Jason, another question I have for you is, I can speak for myself and Angie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had where you fall asleep on the couch sitting up with your significant other, and then you're just like, "Oh yes, this is how we sleep." You fall asleep like that, and then you kind of just wake up. Someone comes in, like, that seems very awkward, like they were fake sleeping.
Yeah, no, the way Reg and I fall asleep when we're both sitting on the couch watching TV is, first, we're not huddled together like it's freezing and we're trying to get each other's body warmth. Yeah. We each have our side of the couch. My head's on one side, her head's on the other. Whether we're sitting or laying, and if we fall asleep, and we've done that plenty of times watching movies or TV, we fall asleep as on opposite ends of the couch, not touching each other, except maybe our legs are tangling. That's it.
It was so weird. It was weird. I don't understand what the hell was going on there. I don't trust these parents as far as I can throw them anymore. And this is the main reason right now, because of their fake sleeping.
Don't pretend to be
So,
asleep. Just say you're sitting up.
that's it.
I actually think it's kind of like, I thought it was kind of funny, and I'm glad that Naomi had this reaction when. But when they try to parent her and like, you know what, Naomi, we're your parents and you're coming home right now, and you can be mad at us, but you're coming home, and she's like, are you really trying to parent me right now? Go fuck yourself. It's like, yeah, that's fair, because it's like, this isn't like, hey, I punished you and maybe I shouldn't have or whatever. This is like, we've been lying to you your whole life. Naomi kind of has the right to be angry about that. And I'm glad that when she does go home at the end, she's like, this doesn't make it okay. I'm just coming home because it's the thing to do, but we still have work to do. I kind of appreciated that.
No, I think that was the more realistic move that was right there. Much more realistic than their fake sleeping on the couch.
For sure.
All right, so we'll talk more about that Naomi next week, along with the Flash, because the Flash is actually back tonight, so we'll be talking about it next week. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to watch that tomorrow.
So that brings us to today's episode of Moon Knight, episode 5, that dropped earlier today on Disney Plus. If you haven't watched it yet, spoiler warning is going up. Spoilers. If you have not seen episode 5 of Moon Knight, come back and check us out at a later time. You've been warned. Okay, so if you've seen Moon Knight, let's go. A very interesting episode that was I honestly was wondering if this was my favorite episode of the show so far.
100%.
Pretty much, yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah. I would say it is. It gives us, it's pretty much the Mark Spector, Stephen Grant origin story. It's told in a really interesting way.
It's told in a very interesting way, and it was there were so many surprises, and the fact is, and I wanted to text you this, but I was like, I'll just wait till we get on when the air. But like, they changed it. He like Mark Spector as DID, not because of Khonshu, but because his mother is a terribly abusive, miserable cunt. I mean, that was, I was so shocked by that. And when you see him as a kid, like, have that disassociative moment where he's like, no, well, okay, mother, I'm gonna have to clean up. It's like, wow, like the emotional impact of this episode, like, was brilliant. And just the changes they made, I don't know, I was just such a huge fan. Sorry, I know that I jumped the gun about something, but I was really excited.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about that. We don't have to listen. This is a spoiler show, so we're gonna assume you watched it. So that we don't need to say each thing. But jumping in with us though to talk about Moon Knight, because we know he wanted to, but he's really here for Ghost Rider. Is Tim.
And do you hear that? Do you hear Tim scraping at the door?
Exactly. I've been out here the whole time, scraping at the door. Dude, I'm not joking. Boy. I'm not joking. I've watched that about 300 times, at least 300 times.
It's one of the best scenes of any film in all cinema.
I laughed so hard at that, and the other big scene, which we'll talk about later, I guess. But yeah, it was.
We'll hold off on it. But obviously, I'm sure you saw Moon Knight already, so that's why you're jumping in. Okay.
Yes, that's why I forgot to jump in for Moon Knight.
Yeah. So pretty much the episode kicks off though with Dr. Harrow continuing to evaluate Mark, and I felt like this was a good theme for our show tonight when he talks about sense versus nonsense. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what it is tonight, right? That's what we're dealing with tonight.
So the beginning of our show was sense, and when we're done with this segment, it's nonsense.
Then we're going to slowly dive into nonsense.
It's going to be, they show the picture of the president on his first year and the president on his last year. We're all going to age 15 years by the time the show's over. Just because of fucking Ghost Rider.
And not because of runtime.
Because of Ghost Rider. Because of how bad it was.
But yeah, so he ends up getting sedated, and he's back and then it catches up at the beginning of the end of the last episode. So he's there finding out what's going on, and Mark and Steven are there with the Egyptian god, but we find out they're in the Egyptian afterlife at this point. So Mark is dead. They confirm you're dead.
I love that. Like, you're dead. You're not dying. You're dead, and you're in the Egyptian afterlife. And I'm thinking, of course he is. He's like Khonshu's avatar. And of course, like if anyone's going to the Egyptian afterlife, it's going to be the avatars of the Egyptian gods. And I love the Twani, like I don't forget what the goddess's name is, the hippo.
We're gonna butcher it, so I'd said it last week, and
I'm the hippo. I'm just gonna say the hippo, who's actually my favorite character in this episode. I think she's fantastic.
She's awesome. Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, she is. But I love that she's like, yeah, this is an afterlife. There are many planes of existence, right? Which is an MCU thing because we get Mephisto, right, and we get like a more traditional Christian hell. But this is a different afterlife. And I love that, like, yeah, I haven't done this in a while. No one's been through the Egyptian afterlife in a very long time. Let me get my index cards.
Yeah, she's going and she has like a script.
I forget Wakanda.
Yeah.
They have their own afterlife. Wakanda. Well,
she name drops it. She name drops it and says, so talks about how beautiful it is. Yep. So I thought that was all pretty awesome to see. But so I guess when we talked about it just a couple of days ago, we talked about episode 4. There is an interesting spin put on this, though. So I think we were both right and wrong at the same time. It's the Egyptian afterlife, but the visual of the hospital and everything like that is Mark identifying it because she explains to him, or to them, to him, Stephen and Mark, that the appearance of this place is whatever you associate with it because the human brain can't comprehend what it is. And we were saying, though, the three of us agreed that we felt this was Mark trying to, like, comprehend what was going on. So technically, we got it right and we got it wrong at the same time. Yeah. I think it's fair to say two things can be right at the same time. So
agreed.
I thought that was cool, though.
He is both on the ship of the Sea of Sand to the Egyptian afterlife and stuck in his own head. And that's made clear when she tries to balance the scales with their hearts and she sends them back in to observe the memory and sort of she's trying to get them to reintegrate, to have the personalities merge, to have a balance of personality. And she sends them back in there and they are in their own head. So I think 100% we were right. But there's also this other layer that we didn't.
There's more to it. Yeah, there was more to it. So that's pretty much the focus of this episode, right? It's like you just mentioned. Their goal is like, listen, you guys are dead. You're going to go ahead and you're either going to kind of like go to heaven or you're going to hell. So, but to go to heaven, you need to balance your heart and balance the scales of both of your hearts. And she literally goes and like takes their heart out, not like Kano, ripping a heart out like Mortal Kombat, but like in a nice way to do it. So that's pretty much what it is. And the way that they do that is they need to share secrets with each other so they become whole in one person. And this is where we get to see Steven seeing a lot of the shit that Mark has done over time and shit he's experienced. And we get a lot of explanation of why Steven even exists. Mainly to pretty much it was Mark's way of dealing with trauma. As like anything that was really bad or hurt too much to deal with over time, he started doing it because it starts off with the death of his brother. Mark is sent off to protect his brother, and he ends up drowning. His brother ends up drowning, and his mother blames him for it repeatedly. I guess for the rest of his life, she's kind of going after him. Pretty fucked up that she goes up. She had a mental breakdown, and that's kind of what he had to deal with. They show birthdays where she won't come down one year, and then his father's there, like having a birthday alone, and then another birthday where she just comes down drunk and is just saying, hey, you were always jealous of him and all this other shit. And he's had enough of it. And then the next memory is him leaving. He's like, screw this, and yelling at his father, blaming his father. You should have fixed this.
And I love that. And I loved, like, because it's real. Again, this is reality. The father is like, I can't lose another son. He's like, we can fix this. He's like, no, you should have fixed this. And they're both right. Like, if you see when she goes up there to beat the hell out of him when she's drunk and it's his birthday, where's the father? Father's not stopping that. The father's being bulldozed over. So he's 100% correct, but also it's realistic. This stuff happens.
Yeah, and Tim, I'll throw it to you for this. I also thought it was cool, though, when they're on the ship and Steven and Mark are talking, about what their game plan is. And Mark is like, dude, I say we kill the fucking hippo, we take the ship, and we just go wherever the hell we want to go.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But like real quick, like you said before, though, the kid was phenomenal. The way he switched from Mark to Steven and went, we got to clean the room up now. I was like, wow, I got a little goosebumpy after that. My one thing was, I know you said this is your favorite episode. I kind of wish this is 5. I kind of wish
one more left.
I kind of wish this was 4.
Okay.
So we can have like 2 episodes of like ass kicking now coming up. That's my only problem with this show so far. I think it's been a little slow, but this show, slow or not, I don't hate it at all, because I mean it was a great episode where we finally start filling in the blanks. I hope the next one is just a lot of major ass kicking. Because I want me some Moon Knight, man. But yeah, I mean the relationship, and Oscar Isaac, I give him all the credit in the world now. Dude is fucking phenomenal.
He really, his acting chops really carry the show.
And he'll never get credit for it because it's a Marvel show. We all know that,
right?
So,
but watching him play Steven and Mark, it's like, tell me you guys don't subconsciously think it's 2 different people playing these roles, because they're so goddamn different.
Yeah. Even when the kid made the switch,
I
was like, holy shit, good for this kid. Glad they hired somebody who could do the job, because he hit the accent, he hit everything. It was so good.
That kid has some talent.
And heartbreaking, man. I was sitting there, I watched it in the elevator today, and I'm like trying to hold back my like, because this lady, his mother's all lunatic, and it's forget it. It was good though. It was good though. I kind of wish it was an episode before, kind of like, and then you get last 2 are just going to be ass kicking. But,
well, if we pretty much what we've seen from the MCU so far, right, is like the last episode of the season seems to be the major hero versus villain throwdown, and it's
second to last second to last ties it all up. Last one's ass kicking. That's basically what they usually do.
Yeah,
I'll take that formula every goddamn time.
Yeah,
for sure. It's the third act of a Marvel movie, pretty much. So, so pretty much how it works is they go into different rooms in the hospital, and in each room there's a different memory from Mark's past, and Steven is exploring them one by one. And one room they go into is really crazy. Is that there's a room full of dead bodies in there. And it's Mark's room, and it's all the people that he's killed. But the interesting thing, though, is that there's a kid in there. And the kid kind of runs off, and Steven follows him. Mark doesn't want this, because that's when it gets blown up that it was his brother, because in his mind, he killed his brother. Which, upon the rewatch, this hit me a lot better. On when I watched it the second time, I was like, oh, shit, wow.
And symbolically, his brother is the only one who's actually running around. Everyone else is literally just dead, sitting there like it's Stephen King's The Stand, in the beginning of that movie. But because symbolically, his brother's really the only person in that room he didn't kill. Exactly. I think on some level he does know that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was... I'm sorry, go ahead. So.
I was going to say, did we get a quick shot of the third personality, if I'm not mistaken?
Not that
I once seen where he was being with the doctor. He kind of made I thought he made like this little quick switch. I was like, that's gotta be. I think that's the third guy. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just thinking the guy. I'm taking a whack at it, seeing
I can't say that I saw him there, but I got to assume we're going to see him this week.
Jake, right?
We have to see Jake, yeah. And I have a theory about Jake that I wanted to get to and run by you guys at the end of the episode.
I do. I also have a theory, so we'll present it at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much the memory of his brother though is before they go off and they run off and they have to he has to take care of his brother before his brother drowns. You get a lot of details there. His brother's drawing a fish with one fin that's there. He's the way he talks to his mom and stuff like that. It's about see you later, Now, what was it? Not a wild crocodile and everything. All the stuff that we heard in episode 1 when Steven's on the phone talking to his mother. So all these things it all starts connecting together now. And then his brother, his mother blames it there. And then we also learned that they watched the video, the basically Tomb Raider thing that they were watching. The character's name is Stephen Grant. And then Stephen Grant has no fear. And that ties into where he creates the persona to deal with the trauma because he's believing in that tagline of Stephen has no fear. And it's just, it's wild how all of Stephen's entire personality checks every box of pretty much sounded like he was trying to keep his brother alive or base it on his brother.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love when he says to him, don't go there. Don't look at this. This is why you were created.
Tells him straight out, yeah.
So you don't. I created you, so you don't have to see and deal with this bullshit. And how many times in your life have you been like, I wish I could fucking do that? Just forget it. Put it on someone else, like another personality, and just not remember it. So yeah, it's very, very powerful shit in this episode. I really
agreed. And that answers the question that we were talking about last week. Why does Stephen Grant have his own life? Why does he have his own set of friends and his own job? And it's like, because Stephen Grant is where Mark Spector goes to feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, I mean, that's his point. He tells him that. And that's why he replaces the fish. That's why he does everything in his power to make sure Stephen Grant never finds out about him, because that is his fucking vacation. And it's love
almost
that
like a nice. I'm sorry. It's almost like a nice.
No, go please.
It's like a nice fight club, like Tyler Durden as a nice guy. Like he's like, listen, I'm your other personality, but I'm not going to go out and start fight clubs and blow up shit. I'm going to get you a new fish. And I'm going to treat you well. I'm going to fucking get you a blanket and cocoa, because that's nice. I'm the nice guy. So that's how I saw it. That's how I saw it.
No, that's a great way to put it, Tim. That's all a great way. That's perfect.
I want you to sleep as soundly as you can. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I want you to dream of marshmallows and rainbows. I don't want you out blowing up shit and whatever. But yeah, that's how I saw it.
So and then Steven goes ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. Before I was moving.
No. I think you are about to hit on what I was going to bring up. So I'll let you get there. Right.
So Mark goes ahead and stops Steven from going ahead and going into like the main memory that he's really trying to save him from now. And he pulls him into a memory of the night he met Khonshu, the moment where he became the Moon Knight. And it pretty much just cuts to the scene in Egypt, and the father being dead that's there, not his father, but Layla's father that was there, he's shot there. He kind of gives him a brief explanation of that. And then we see him there. Mark is laying there dying and was going to shoot himself. He was going to end it all until Khonshu starts speaking to him and tells him like, oh, pathetic, like it's kind of like a waste, and mentions that his mind is fractured and everything. And it's like, you would be perfect to be my avatar at this time. And tells him what the deal is. You're going to go ahead and be my fist of justice. You're going to take out my vengeance on those who go ahead and deserve it, pretty much. And he agrees there. And that's what he did. And Steven is telling him, Khonshu was preying on you, was taking advantage of the situation. But Mark is just like, listen, and this is where it ties up really well, is that he says, I was just going to be who I always was anyway. I was always a killer since day one, still harping on himself that he feels he killed his brother, and still taking ownership of that, which later in the episode, Steven even assures him that was not the case.
Yep.
And I love that what Steven says to him is that vulture preyed on you. And it made me realize that Khonshu is bird-like. Khonshu kind of does look like a vulture, like with this big beak, and he kind of has Skeksis vibes from Dark Crystal, which were just huge vultures. So I thought that was kind of cool.
No, I liked it a lot, and that was interesting. And then we see him become Moon Knight for the first time. It's a badass shot that they have with Khonshu behind him, and his eyes light up and everything. I thought that was really cool. And then we get them kind of snap out of it, because the underworld is pretty much, it's raining souls, because Harrow is starting to go ahead. He's got them a bit. They're killing a bunch of people before they even had the chance to do anything. So there's no balancing of anything, overall. So they talk about it. Steven and Mark are just like, listen, we need Khonshu back. We got to get him. We got to kind of get back with him. That's the only way we're going to be brought back to life. And Steven has the conversation. Are you sure you want to do that? And he goes, it's the only way. And that's when that's him becoming more of like a hero there, again.
And I love that the hippo is like, I'm on your side, and actually she puts it, she's like, these souls cannot be balanced because they're being sent here before they've done anything.
Mm-hmm.
right? So that, and I like that. That's the stakes, right? He is going to destroy. Harrow's going to destroy the Egyptian underworld, because as we see, it's all a matter of balance, right? Because the hearts have to balance the feather, and we don't understand exactly why yet. Who cares? Hand wave. That's the way it works. And when they tell her, well, that's why we need to get back, she goes, all right, well, you keep trying to balance, and I'm going to get you to Osiris's gate, and I'm going to get you there. And I like that she kind of is on their side, and she literally just throws the ship into reverse.
Yeah, that was really cool. But she also says, you guys got to finish this.
Yes.
Your hearts are still not whole. There's one thing left to do. And then they pretty much go back. And it turns out it was only a couple of weeks ago. And we get the explanation of why Stephen Grant has been like reemerging now, is that their mother died and he couldn't deal with it. So he pretty much called on Stephen to help deal with it when they were going to her funeral, pretty much. And that's what I thought was really interesting. So Stephen sees it, acknowledges finally that his mother is dead, and is kind of being more accepting of things. And like Jason had mentioned earlier, they're becoming one whole person. Mm-hmm. And that's when the scales are balanced. But then right after that, though, these souls are coming up, and it looks like it's the ones that Stephen killed that are coming up to kind of like get him. And Stephen that Mark killed. And then Stephen and them fight them off. Stephen ends up sacrificing himself and kind of falls off the boat and gets sucked in. And you see kind of like, looks like Mark is ascending at the end of the episode. And that's kind of where it leaves off.
And here's my theory that I wanted to posit. The reason of the imbalance through the whole episode was not because they weren't sharing with each other. It's because you have 2 hearts and 3 personalities. Because what balances that whole thing is Stephen being thrown overboard. Now you have 2 hearts and 2 personalities. So that's my theory about the third personality that I'm sure we're going to meet in the next episode.
Now, regarding Jake, though, I think, and Rick and I were chatting about this earlier, and we kind of were literally on the same page already, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. I think the third altar was created by Stephen.
Interesting.
I think that was created by Stephen in his way, because Harold mentions at one point when he's questioning him, he's like, hey, who was the original? Is it Stephen created Mark, or Mark created Stephen? But he throws it out there. Stephen, did you create Mark to let out your anger on the world about what happened, with you all these years, where you were suffering and everything like that? I wonder if Stephen created the Jake for that.
See, I actually think that Mark created Jake for that. Okay. Like that's the way I read that, was because we find out, and there's a heartbreaking scene, and we all knew that Stephen was the altar, but there is that heartbreaking scene where Stephen's brought back to Harrow that you had said, and Stephen kind of has the realization he's the altar. He never existed. And he actually says, I thought I was the real one, and I'm not. I'm your imagination. But I think when Harrow asked, did you create Stephen to protect you from that, your background, did you create, or did Stephen create Mark to unleash the vengeance on the world? I think it's both. Mark created Stephen to protect himself from his past, but had so much rage and anger that he himself, as Mark Spector, could not take out, because he is ultimately a good person. He feels bad for every life he takes with Khonshu. That's made clear in this episode, right? He tries to justify it, but he's not cool with it, and it's why he wants away from Khonshu. So I think he created Jake, possibly after Khonshu, to unleash that anger on the world, to have a persona that can deal with the evil that he's done. That was how I took that.
Okay, no, that's a good. Tim, what do you think?
That's both good fucking points, guys. I don't know. I'm a little torn now. But I was leaning more towards Ed's view of Stephen unconsciously creating Jake to kind of be like, because he wants to so bad be a tough guy. He wants to so bad be a hero. He wants to so bad to be not him. I mean, he calls his mother because he gets lost every. I'm lost again, mother. Yep, I don't know where So I'm kind of leaning towards where Ed said, but I mean, Jason, you nailed it too. I think I can't wait now for next week.
No, Jason, you make a good point too. I mean, I can buy into that as well. So
it can go either way. I think
next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, next week we'll have the episode 6 season finale. Hopefully, season finale, because I'm sure I have a feeling this will get picked up, or unless they continue him into a movie.
I'm okay with either. I love Oscar Isaac as this character. I love what they're doing with this character. I'm all in for wherever they're taking him.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that pretty much brings us to our movie of the week. As we've been scraping at the door.
Scraping at the door.
Oh man.
This was so bad you made me do research.
I
did research because I wanted to see the budgets and how much it made and everything. And we'll get into that when you're ready if you want. But
yeah, for sure. Well, whatever. We can start off with some stuff like that, though. So I did want to correct something that I did say on Sunday night. So I was actually referring to the writers of this film when I mentioned David S. Goyer was one of the writers on this film. I said Mark Steven Johnson, who directed. Okay, he directed and wrote Daredevil. Also directed and wrote the original Ghost Rider. Okay. This was the David S. Goyer and Scott. Sorry, I got his name pulled up right here. Scott M. Gimpley, who actually does a lot of work on Walking Dead. So that's kind of this is the shit fest that we've gotten from them.
So I think we can agree that like someone else wrote The Dark Knight, right? Because that's the one we always go to. That David S. Goyer wrote The Dark Knight and all this other garbage. Like,
Blade also. Blade and Blade 2. He wrote those.
Okay, so I mean we could agree that
Man of Steel.
I mean, that wasn't a great written movie.
Man of Steel. Hold on. Jason,
all right.
Man of Steel is not Ghost Rider Spirit of fucking Vengeance.
You're not. I just don't understand how someone could write this and Dark Knight. That's all
Maybe
I'm
he
saying.
has alters. Maybe he has two alters also that do writing.
I think he does. I think he does too. Only explanation.
So, yeah, then I mentioned at the beginning of the show that this was one of the movies I referred to when we started Granny's Peach Tea of how much of the opposite ends of the spectrum we were going to have to touch on this show at some point. And we have arrived. I do feel I was a bit too harsh on a 2007 Ghost Rider a couple of days ago, maybe. After rewatching this, it reminded me how much I hate this movie.
Yes.
And I really hate this movie. And I think it's interesting because Jason and I were talking about expectations. Jason just saw this. Tim, is this the first time you've seen this movie too?
First and last.
Okay.
So, Tim also went in hating Nick Cage. So different
and that's
different set of expectations. Yes.
Exactly. I saw this the second time I've seen this movie. I saw it the first time when it was on In Demand on cable, when it first kind of came out on that run. I didn't see it in the theater. It probably wasn't out very long, from what I recall. But you guys saw it now. But you've also seen the movie after it's got shit on by me and many other people for many years. Tim, I'm sure I've told you about how much I've hated this movie for some time as well. I have to reevaluate if it's on my top 10 worst movies, but
I've listened to podcasts that shit on this movie, so I went in being
you knew what you were going, you were signing up for.
100%. Which is why I'm going to make this controversial statement, guys. I enjoyed this movie. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say I did like it. I did enjoy it. But, like, I also enjoyed Trolls 2. I also enjoyed The Room. Like, I think this is room-level bad for a superhero movie. And it kind of made me enjoy it.
This is The Room? This is The Room of the superhero genre?
This is The Room of the superhero genre. Exactly.
All right, wait. If they make a movie about making this movie, I'll get on board.
Yeah, so pretty much some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, Tim, I know you did some research, so I'll throw it to you in a second. So this movie was pretty much made just so Sony can keep the rights for Ghost Rider a little bit longer.
Copyright special.
Yep, they had to throw it together. The budget is, Tim, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's less than half of the original budget.
Exactly. The first one was 110. This one was 57.
57
and the first one technically was a success, money wise.
Yeah,
it was a huge success money wise because it was made for 110. It made a shit ton more than that. I think it made 50 opening weekend, and in America it made 2 something. I think worldwide it made 500 something. That's a success.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. How do you go? That's a successful movie. Let's cut the budget in half for the sequel. What?
Because they were just trying to retain their rights and kill time. They were pretty much trying to kneel on the clock to go ahead so they can come up with a better idea. And this is what we get. And the thing, though, is that, Jason, you know what it is, too, is that after just watching the other movie, which I had mentioned in our last episode, I don't enjoy. There are things I enjoyed about it that are not anymore in the sequel. But it's just this movie looks and feels like the direct-to-video sequel of the first movie. It looks cheap. It's shot terribly.
Yep.
And you got the directors from Crank to go ahead and crank this crap out, pun intended.
Oh, nice. Don't forget that the CGI is shit.
Oh my God, the CGI is so bad.
And the thing is here, they have the budget and went, well, all right, we're gonna have Nicolas Cage, so I mean that's 90% of your budget because Nick Cage is scraping at the door of his bank account when it comes to these movies.
Oh, he needed any dollar he can get. This was during that time.
He had a fucking island to buy. But then you're also like paying Christopher Lambert. And I'm not saying that that's a huge thing. I'm not saying that like, oh, he's $1 million guy, but it's like he's the Highlander.
Yes,
Christopher Lambert. Exactly. Christopher Lambert can go. He can haggle. He can negotiate.
Yes.
They could have put anyone in that role, but they didn't. They put someone with a price tag on them. Idris Elba. I mean, for Christ's sake.
All right. So I told this to Jason, Tim. I totally believe that they just got Idris Elba drunk and had him sign the contract and have him drunk on set the whole time.
Well, what year was this?
This was 2012.
Oh shit! So this is way past fucking.
No, 2011.
This is past Heimdall then. Oh yeah, they definitely got him drunk or something.
Yeah, this is Heimdall. The Wire is what got him big, right?
He owed a favor. He owed a favor to somebody for this piece of shit.
Dude, the MCU was already going at this.
That's
point.
what I'm saying. The MCU's already going. He owed somebody a big ass favor for this movie. There's no way he would do this movie now.
So I'm thinking, hold on. This came out in 2011. Avengers came out in 2012. Right?
Yeah.
This came out the same year as Thor when he debuted as Heimdall.
That's terrible.
How are you still making movies like this, Sony, at this point in time? How is that happening? And you didn't release the Amazing Spider-Man 2 yet either. Ugh. That didn't happen yet. This is before that.
Ugh.
By the way, this movie much better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2. We can all agree that. Come on.
No, I'd watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 before.
What?
This piece of shit.
You guys would rather watch your beloved Spider-Man
my God. Oh, wow.
Get tarred and feathered in a Sony movie than watch like this?
Well, like you said, this is the room. This you watch for just you don't watch this for. Oh my God, I would rather watch Spider-Man.
Wow.
Okay, Jason. All right, I am actually slightly torn on this, but I am going to side with you though. Because of my love for Spider-Man, that's why. That's why I'm going to side with you.
Your love for Spider-Man, my hatred for Nick Cage.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's fair.
Now, if I'm talking about the actual filmmaking, no.
Oh no!
Stop. No. Spider-Man. At least the Amazing Spider-Man 2 actually has. It looks like they put money into the budget. Like everything. He looks cool.
Oh, excuse me, I'm choking to death. We should do our own making of how they made this movie. What's that thing called that we always watch on YouTube? The pitch idea. Pitch meetings. Because you say, oh, we're cutting the budget in half, so we're going to go to a foreign country and shoot in the shittiest part of that country.
Where are they? Moldavia?
But that's like not even a real play. And all those places they were climbing in, that wasn't real. You could tell it looked like fucking bedrock from the John Goodman movie, the Flintstone movie. I'm like, what? Where are they? I was like, what are they in? It looks so bad. I said, they didn't even try. They didn't even try.
That's what I'm saying, dude. A direct-to-video sequel of the first one is what it looks and feels like throughout the whole movie. And the other thing that this movie, so I think the biggest crime against this thing, though, is I found this movie incredibly boring. Yeah. For all the weird, crazy, hyper stuff we get, like the scraping at the door, we get crazy Ghost Rider where he transforms and he literally is Nick Cage as Ghost Rider doing weird head movements suddenly and going, bah! Bah! Like that, right? I mean, is it accurate? Would you say it's accurate? Wait, that's Ghost Rider in this movie. Blah, 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 blah.
And you forget the second 100%. Best line in this movie. Second best line in this movie. Merry Christmas, assholes.
Yes.
Why? Why would you say that? Why would Ghost Rider anybody say that? It doesn't make any sense.
I think the biggest offense of this movie is one, that it's boring. Number two, they take weird liberties with like comic book characters. The kid is Danny Ketch. That's the kid's name in this movie. For those of you who picked up a comic book, you're aware Danny Ketch is Ghost Rider in the comics. He's the second Ghost Rider. He's the Ghost Rider in the new Fantastic Four. It's Danny Ketch, not Johnny Blaze. I mean, and you just name a random kid Danny Ketch in this movie that he has to save?
I mean, I don't know. But all right. I'm going to defend it on this because that random kid was not a random kid at all, but it was that was the devil's kid, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the Antichrist.
Yeah, he's the Antichrist, and also he gives him back his Ghost Rider power. So one could make the argument that when he got older, he could take on the Ghost Rider power himself.
I would say that it would actually do a lot for this film, for the story of it, if at the end of the film Johnny Blaze actually died and passed it on, and and Danny Ketch was Ghost Rider at the end of it.
100%.
I would make that way more acceptable, even with the scraping and with the pissing Ghost Rider and with Ghost Rider vomiting. Two scenes of Ghost Rider pissing, by the way.
Oh my God, Ghost Rider pisses fire and looks back and goes, huh? Like twice.
Yes, and I want to talk about something with that too.
How did you guys not love this movie? It was so stupid.
The humor of this movie, it's weird because it's like, it's not taking itself 100% seriously at all, but I just feel like the jokes still fall flat.
Oh,
the Jerry
terrible.
Springer shit,
very
the
flat.
Jerry Springer thing that happens in the movie, the pissing of fire twice. I think scraping at the door was meant to be a joke. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
No,
it's hard to tell.
No.
That's a problem that we really can't figure this out because we all like bad movies.
In his mind, that was his Oscar moment. Scraping at the door. In his mind.
But I want to make something clear about why I like bad movies, right? Because I don't think it was supposed to be a joke, and that's why I like it. Because I like bad movies that really don't know they're bad. The part of what makes a bad movie good for me is that, like, the tears and the smell of legitimate failure, right? When I see a bad movie that is like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we know we're bad. I'm like, this is garbage. Fuck you. Don't waste my time.
Okay, but you know what? The Room, I understand. It's nobody you know, nobody ever heard of.
Yeah. Just
watching it, you're going, wow, this is the fucking worst thing I ever saw.
Yeah, but
now you throw in a big budget Sony Nicolas Cage movie, and it's that fucking bad.
This is The Room with Nick Cage and Christopher Lambert and Idris Elba and Anthony Stewart. This is The Room with big names.
Oh, that's the first thing I saw when I put the movie on that night. I was like, oh, it's on demand. I said, let me start watching it now because I know it's going to take me at least 4 minutes. So I'm going to get angry and shut it off. The first one I saw, I said, fucking Giles from Buffy.
Yes!
I said, Jason is going to like this movie because fucking Giles from Buffy is in it.
You know me too well, my friend.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Tim, but that's what I'm getting at, though, with it, is that I just think because, this was a theatrical release. This movie, even though the budget got slashed in less than half than the original, it's still there. You have talent there, and you decided to piss it all away and fire. That's pretty much kind of what you were doing with it. And you also started to not obey your own rules that were set in the previous film. The Ghost Rider is daytime, by the way, constantly in this movie. Why? No, nothing's ever.
But let's start with the fact that so Nicolas Cage, Johnny Blaze, decides to live in a Eastern European factory away from everyone. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand this character. Yes, you're cursed. I get it. You don't want to be the fucking Ghost Rider. I understand that. It's a curse. But you could still go out and live your life. And I'm okay, sure, you kill some people at night but they're all bad. It's not like you're out there killing innocent children. Like, I don't understand why this is such a bad. Like, I have to run to Eastern Europe.
Well, it was also
and live by myself.
But Roxy Simpson becomes under, for lack of a better term, comes under fire at the end of the last movie because he's the Ghost Rider. So he was kind of like doing the thing. This movie does take place in the timeline 8 years after the original movie. That is like it's funny because it's not stated in the movie, but when you read about it, you find out that this movie is supposed to take place 8 years later.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, even though theatrically they were 4 years apart. But this is supposed to be 8 years. I don't know.
Why make it 8?
Why does he piss fire? Why is any of this happening? Things just happen in this fucking movie.
To keep the copyright. Everything happens to keep the copyright. My thing with it, though, was when we left him off in that last movie, Satan or Mephisto rather was like, I'll take that curse from you. And he's like, no, you won't. I'm going to use it to hurt you. And now he's living in Eastern Europe in exile trying to get the curse removed. It's like, I don't know, the motivation of the character is that's stupid to me. Like, this movie, again, as much as I enjoyed how stupid and bad this movie was, it makes no sense. And it's not really even a sequel to the last one because I don't think it picks anything up except Nick Cage's the Ghost Rider. Like, that's it.
Yeah, because even when they have the brief explanation, because they decide that they need him to tell the story at different points and narrate randomly, and they flash back to Mephisto and his origin story with that. And it's the basic same thing, but it just looks differently because now they have a different Mephisto. Because apparently Peter Fonda wanted to come back and they decided no, maybe because they couldn't afford him.
They said no. Oh, well, they did slash the budget by half. Yeah.
Yes.
Peter Fonda wants to come back, but Peter Fonda also wants to get paid.
Yeah. So they're like, listen, we're just going to get this dude to come in and he's going to just be Mephisto. Who, by the way,
Rourke
does nothing in this movie besides just kind of make weird faces and just literally gets thrown back to hell at the end of the movie. Literally thrown back to hell.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Go home.
Yes.
I was like, I want to go home. Send me to hell. Send me to hell for watching this movie.
Dude, hold on. It was right about the penance stare.
No, again, we're being punished for watching anything Marvel related. The movie's the penance stare, and we are the sinners, and we deserve what we get.
And you guys want to do a podcast about Marvel movies and comic movies, right? Just look into our eyes.
You know what scene too that baffled the shit out of me was how this woman who's trying to protect her kid lets him go on a motorcycle and do wacky stunts in the middle of Eastern country, nowhere, Turkey, whatever the fuck they are. Yeah, put him on a bike, let him do some wacky stunts with him and Idris Elba. I was like, this is just wow. This is bad. Yeah. Bad. And bad.
Idris Elba's French accent, kind of cool.
No, that was all right.
And how does he know where Johnny Blaze is? He just
he knows everything about Johnny Blaze. He knows his whole story.
His French accent, kind of cool. Let's focus on the good.
No.
And we also get Idris Elba, by the way, falling off a mountain, going ahead and firing back. And then we found out later that he just landed in a tree.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Yeah, so the other villain that we get in this movie is Blackout, who has this weird, he touches things and it decays and blah, blah, blah. And there's two Twinkie references that he makes in this movie for no reason.
Because Twinkies don't decay, because there's nothing organic there.
Come on, that's the joke. As we've learned in Ghostbusters, yes, I know. Egon Spengler taught us all that. But I thought it was just weird that, why do we have two random Twinkie references in this movie?
The first one Twinkie joke was fine. The second was stupid. I actually did like this character. I think there was something there. I thought like the fact that he could touch organic material, like the first Twinkie joke when he's like just trying to find something to eat,
Yeah.
and it's like the sandwich disappears, decays, the fruit disappears, and the Twinkie's like, "Oh, okay, that's good." Like that was kind of fun. Like, and I liked that character. I liked when who was it that grabs him by the throat? Was that Christopher Lambert? And he's just like, and he's just like, oh no, and he waits for Lambert's hand to like decay and goes, yeah, idiot, that doesn't do anything. I kind of liked him.
But you know what like is bad with him though is that he has one of the lamest fights at the end of this movie with Ghost Rider. That was pretty bad, and he just throws him under a car and he gets ran over, and that's the end of it.
You're right. That was terrible. I can't.
It's a pretty bad fight at the end, and then he throws Mephisto home, and that's what we get, pretty much.
I would love to know how much percent of that was on location, and how much of that was on a green screen in a basement somewhere, because all the caves with the wine and all the other sets, but one has wine, one has guns, and they all look like fucking bedrock. They really did. I'm like, where are the Flintstones in this place? That's what it looks like to me. Fucking Flintstones are going to pop out any minute now. So I want to know how much was green screen and how much was actually, like an actual built-in set on location somewhere in East fucking Turkey, Uzbekistanville, whatever the fuck they filmed.
They went to wherever they could afford, dude. Wherever they could afford.
It's probably like free. Nick Cage is coming free. Film here for free. No charge whatsoever.
And then the ending of this movie ends so abruptly.
It's I texted you about that. It's such an abrupt ending. It literally just ends.
Did we win?
I'm
Hell yes.
I'm the Ghost Rider. Boom, done.
Yeah.
but Tim, but Tim, the line before that where she's like, "Did we win?" And he's like, "Yeah, hell yeah,
hell yeah."
And all of a sudden, he's riding. I'm Johnny Blaze. I'm a Ghost Rider, and then they show him in blue because we find out that the Spirit of Vengeance was an angel that went crazy at one point because that's why he's so crazy now. And blah 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 blah.
It's so bad.
It is. It's terrible. I love it.
It is so awful.
Look, this is again for me. This is the Room or Goblin or Troll 2 of superhero movies. That's why I liked it. I will watch this movie before I watch the first Ghost Rider, because the first Ghost Rider, that's a middling, kind of boring superhero movie. This is a batshit crazy Tommy Wiseau kind of thing. This is its own thing.
I have seen the other Ghost. I've seen Ghost Rider more than this.
Can you imagine?
I'm never going to watch this again.
I'm saying, can you imagine your only knowledge of Ghost Rider, the character, is these two movies? You gotta be like, wow, this is the worst fucking superhero ever.
Yes,
it's pretty bad.
Because he really, if you think about the two movies, he does nothing spectacular, nothing cool, nothing super. Nothing.
What do you mean, like pissing fire doesn't do it for you?
Dude, the guy in S.H.I.E.L.D. did more in one episode than this fucking guy did in two movies.
Guys, Robbie Reyes on if you want to see an awesome fucking live action Ghost Rider, it's the Robbie Reyes version. Check out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that season where he's amazing. The storyline there is amazing, and not like bad amazing like I'm talking about this piece of garbage. We're talking about like it's really good Ghost Rider lore there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it makes you like, oh, I want to research this character. I want to look up this character. Because even like you got a kid. Tell me about Ghost Rider, Dad. This is a piece of shit movie. It's fucking Nicholas. You don't want to tell them the real story. This is like, if you only know these movies, worst superhero ever.
I also want to say that if I saw this in the theater, I would be in your camp, guys. I'd hate this movie as much as you do if I saw this in the theater.
I would have been on the floor, like crawling out the theater.
I know I might have walked out of this. I've only walked out of
I would have done?
2 movies. But
what I would have done in the theater if I would have seen the theater?
What would you have done?
I would have went to the door. Scraping at the door!
And do you remember what I said last week with Elvis? He's trying to be Elvis, right? Nick Cage is trying to be Elvis.
I don't know what he's being in this.
No, but
I don't know.
Here's my point. Not Elvis the singer, Elvis the actor. And Elvis, the actor, is fucking terrible. But that's what he's trying to emulate. He's
Tim,
like, oh, I want to be Elvis, the actor.
Tim, are you saying Elvis?
Yes.
The actor?
The actor? Exactly.
I am gonna say though, and I told you this offline, Ed. I much prefer Nicolas Cage off the chain doing scraping at the door and having weird like Ghost Rider Nick Cage than Nick Cage be like, do you like Italian? I'm gonna drink coffee from this whole pot. I'm gonna watch macaque monkeys fuck. I'm gonna drink a whole thing of jelly beans. Like, I don't know. I'd rather watch him overact with the script than just like force nonsense into his characters.
You know what he was quoted as saying when doing press for Spirit of Vengeance? He's like, yeah, Johnny's in a dark place, man. He's not drinking jelly beans out of a glass anymore. Because instead he traded it jelly beans for scraping at the door.
He traded jelly beans for an Eastern European.
See, Jason, that got you, because I knew that quote was going to get you.
God, that really did get me. That's ridiculous. Oh, Johnny's in a dark place. He ain't watching macaque monkeys fucking and drinking jelly beans. He's scraping at the door. It's bad.
And he wanted the cure so bad. He got it. I want to. All right, I'm not the Ghost Rider anymore. All right, I'm the Ghost Rider again. And now is he happy?
Well, that's the end of every. That is the.
He found out he was an angel, so he's gonna be the angel of vengeance now, or whatever the hell.
Oh,
I don't care, because guess what? Marvel got the rights back. We're never gonna see it ever again. So if we do see Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch, it's not gonna be this.
What if?
I know where this is going.
1 week from tomorrow.
Yes.
You just see it passing by, screaming at the door. And that's it. Real quick.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it would be hilarious now.
Yeah, I'd kind of love it.
As long as it's that one little clip and it's in and out, nothing else. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I don't know, man. Like, we'll see, because then there's the weird thing with as far as the character goes. There's the weird thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is it in the MCU? Is it canon? Is it not canon? I don't know. I would have liked to have seen it be canon, because I also do know that Hulu was going to have a Ghost Rider series of that Ghost Rider continue, and it got shut down before it even went into production, because that's when Marvel Studios took over the TV part, and I guess they just had Kevin Feige had different plans for the character. Right. So, what we've seen though recently, he's been more willing to pick up the Netflix stuff and things like that. So, to me, I'd be great if you got that actor and decided to pick up Robbie Reyes and keep it going. If you want to bring back kind of like how they did with Hank Pym, just bring in an older actor. Yeah, this is Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch. It's fine. But I would love to see that Robbie Reyes, man, like interact with the rest of the MCU.
I would too. And I think what you said, I think that's a perfect way to do it. Like, this is Johnny Blaze. Like, Johnny Blaze is the caretaker role. You're not the caretaker, but but that's the role. He's the guy who sets the new guy into his mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because remember the uproar. Oh, it's not Hank Pym's not Ant-Man. Why isn't Hank Pym Ant-Man? But it fucking worked perfectly.
It was great.
It worked perfectly.
And that was an Ant-Man from the comic book. It just wasn't the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I can see if they did Ghost Rider, it would be Robbie Reyes, who they've established, or they would go with Danny Ketch or something like that. But who the heck knows? I mean, I would like to see the character get justice, like, no pun intended, get justice.
Get vengeance.
Yeah, like on the big screen, or even like a show or something like that, a Disney Plus show or something, but just not whatever the hell we've had to watch over the last week, because it's just bad.
It's really bad.
But I'm going to give you guys the most positive takeaway from the end of this episode. We are done with the Ghost Riders.
We did it, guys. We did it.
Yes. Like Homer Simpson say, let's never talk about this again.
That's great.
Oh, Tim, come on. You know scraping at the door is going to come back.
Oh, I'm never stop saying it. No, listen, I fully admit it. I am hooked on that line. I'm not joking. I've watched that scene 300 times, just that clip. and I will enter that into my normal vocabulary, just for future reference.
Oh, Angie's already heard it a couple of times when the dogs were looking to come into the room or something like that. And the dogs are scraping at the door.
Want to be Elvis?
Oh boy. So, all right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us on this episode of Granny's Peach Tea. Thanks for joining us as always. Whether you joined us on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, podcast, wherever you found it, we appreciate the support. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to Pop Culture Pros on YouTube or on Instagram, and you can join the Granny's Peach Tea Facebook group or the Pop Culture Pros Facebook group if that's where you're catching us as well, or subscribe to wherever you find your podcast. Click on Pop Culture Pros because that's our home. And if all the stuff if you like what you heard today, we will be back next week, and we'll be talking about the original Doctor Strange. No, not the 70s one. When that's available, we will get to it.
I mean, we should probably do that after Multiverse of Madness.
If we can get a copy of it, yes. I don't think it's out yet. But
it's okay. It's not out yet.
Maybe, whatever. We'll look into that. But we'll be talking about the first Doctor Strange before in 2 weeks, we talk about Multiverse of Madness, which we're super excited for. Next week, we'll also be talking about the series/season finale, because season 2 hasn't been announced yet, of Moon Knight. So we'll be talking about that, along with the latest episodes of The Flash and Superman and Lois and Naomi. If you're into James Bond and you're into Roger Moore James Bond, next Monday night you can catch Jason on 00 Deep Dive. What's the movie of the week?
We're going into For Your Eyes Only.
For your
eyes only for you. Exactly. Which I'm excited to talk about, excited to deep dive into. Been listening to the short stories they were based on, because the Moonraker is the last of the novels that the movies were based on, and then they sort of start taking the short stories by Ian Fleming. But this is actually an amalgamation of 2 short stories, so I'm sort of listening through them, excited to kind of talk about that as well as the movie on Monday. So yeah, please join us for that.
Nice. If you're into football, the NFL draft is tomorrow night. You can catch Tim and Faraci and whoever else is joining the show, because they'll be doing a live watch of the NFL draft.
Everyone's invited, 8:00. Be there. Watch me scream and curse.
Or cheer. Maybe you'll be happy.
Maybe I'll be happy. I think I've never been happy. But we'll see. We'll see.
After I watch the new Nick Cage movie, because I'm going to see it with Angie tomorrow night. I'll probably be around draft time, actually, is when it wraps up. So
pop in if you'd like.
I'd pop in, but I have nothing to add, as I don't understand sports.
You should just come in and do scraping at the door and then sign out. That's it.
That's it. Scraping at the door.
And that's it. Guys. Just sign out.
That's it. And I'll take it. I'll take it. It'll be great.
Also, if you're into baseball, you can go ahead, and if you're into the New York Yankees, Sundays late afternoon at night, we have the Empire 161 show with myself and Lisa Garcia. So you can come check us out for that. If you're into the Mets, you can check out the Put It in the Book show with Faraci and Rodriguez and Keith. They were on earlier tonight, so you can go check out their latest episode. If you're into wrestling, good old wrestling, you can check out Tim and Eric on Tuesday nights. They have the Just Too Sweet show. Or you can, if you really want to hear more of them, check out the A to Z show on Friday nights, where Tim is like the Ed McMahon of the show now, which is pretty awesome and hilarious.
You have to watch my intros. That's all I want you to watch my intros. I work hard
on them. I've seen a couple of them.
I work hard on my intros, so I want to make sure everybody sees them.
And Jason, they cover everything from
American History X to the Zapruder film.
Oh, the Zapruder film. I like that.
Yeah. If Disney's your thing, you can go ahead and check out Skyliner Views with Ashley. She has like guests all the time too, so you can go ahead and check out her show. So, whatever you need, we probably got something for it. And Tim, actually, next on May 4th.
1 week from today, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Shooting the Sith will be back. I will be live all day long at my tattoo shop, getting tattooed and interviewing people getting tattooed, and it's going to be a fun day. And that will lead us into Obi-Wan.
Nice. By the way, Tim, that's you listening to it, isn't it?
What do you mean?
It sounds like someone's listening to it.
Yes! I heard it!
Yes, I just heard it. You can't get enough of it. No, now you're hooked.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So
Look, you guys are shitting on this movie. You secretly love it, even just for that scene. Come on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hear anything. I'm watching the Yankee game. I don't know what you're talking about.
all right, so go ahead. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to scrape out your